Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source for what's happening now in the world of electric cars. Today we're talking about Rolls-Royce out of all companies. I'll tell you why it's important, why they have decided to go electric. I'm also going to answer some questions and of course comment of the day. So let's get started. But before that, if this is your first time here, my name is Alex. Welcome to the channel. If you are interested in everything that's going on in the world of electric cars, please consider subscribing by hitting the subscribe button down there and the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything moving forward, but most importantly, become a part of this community. Okay, let's talk about Rolls-Royce. I really didn't think this would be a company that would be really talking about electric cars like anytime soon. As you know, there's a LA auto show that's been going on, Frankfurt show, and just a CES is coming up, and a lot of this, car manufacturers have been coming up with, different concepts, budgets, and so forth. So everyone's kind of slowly moving into the world of electric cars, but it is kind of weird that Rolls-Royce is jumping on the bandwagon because, out of all companies, Rolls-Royce probably could be like the last company to even do this, and their customers wouldn't really mind at all, right? Because, when you buy Rolls-Royce, it's about luxury and old school stuff, and nothing says old school like gas-powered cars, really. So I was surprised when they announced a couple of days ago that they are actually going to be going electric. And what they also said on top of that is that, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of companies took a hybrid route, right? They didn't go all the way to electric cars right away. I think Nissan Leaf is really the only one. Everybody kind of went to the hybrid route, right? Let's see what happens if we do gas and electric at the same time. And it wasn't a bad decision. I think that's actually a pretty good decision to see how the market reacts. And obviously, they couldn't get a long range going from the very beginning, so the gas powered engine as sort of a backup plan, that went pretty well. So I thought it was a good decision. But Rolls-Royce is saying that they're not going to bother with hybrids. They're actually going to go straight to all electric technology. Now, I don't know if this is something that they just kind of wanted to throw out there, set a goal for themselves, but I'm assuming they have some plan on how they can just convert this old school, car company. And I know it's owned by BMW, but nevertheless, it's, it's not like BMW that far ahead of everyone in that technology. So I think that, I think that's a pretty bold movement, but I think it's more importantly that they are saying it, right? Think about it. It's like, when smartphones kind of started coming out and everyone was like, well, I wonder if they're going to stay, if it's going to evolve or whatever. And everyone was like, when that one day your grandpa, like your 70 or 80-year-old grandpa, finally got a smartphone, you go like, oh my God, smartphones are here to stay. They're here for everyone, all right? Well, Rolls-Royce is kind of like your grandpa. If they're going electric, you know that this technology is going to be here and they're going to be here to stay. And I don't think anybody really had to twist their arms. Just like I said, I feel like they have 2, 3, 5-year cushion on this one, but they decided to move forward, with this. Now, Vipul in the chat room right now says everyone is moving, but they are not planning battery factory. Where are the battery packs going to come from? Well, it's a good question. So some companies are actually planning their own battery factories. I believe Mercedes and BMW are building their own factories. But at the same time, it looks like LG, Samsung, and other battery technology companies are actually coming up with their own battery that they're going to be selling for other cars. So there's really kind of a two ways how this could be done. But people are moving towards that direction. Tony in the chat room says, hey, you guys, you might want to seriously consider supporting E4 Electric via Alex's Patreon page. There is interesting bonus footage there, and it helps support the effort in producing content. I wasn't going to get to it yet, Tony, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I do have a Patreon page. The link is down below. So thank you guys so much for supporting it. I have a pretty cool drone footage there. As you can see, this is the drone footage that I took while I was doing a report on superchargers. But in just 1 second, as you can see, that drone is just about to crash. And what happens after that is something that I'm kind of only sharing with my Patreons. So yeah, what happens next? All right, back to Rolls-Royce. So Nelly in the chat room says, they should work with Tesla and add these cars to the supercharging network and charge money to charge. I don't think Tesla right now is interested in that, and I know a few people already proposed that because Tesla still doesn't have enough of their own. They basically right now catching up ahead of Model 3 launch, and I think they're once again going to have a problem of those Model 3s kind of crowding and creating lines at the more busier supercharger locations. So I don't think it's an option right now. Let's see, Helmuth in a chat room proposes that Tesla should go after RV market. I mean, if they can convert the semi-truck to RV, I think that would be just fine. So it's Jason in the chat room says, I would guess that Rolls-Royce is planning an electric with an enormous range, but this will be interesting to see. Yeah, no, definitely, this would be an interesting to see. This is why I'm really excited for them, because they died again. I did not expect this. All right, guys, so let me move on to the comment of the day. It comes from a guy who actually gives me a hard time all over the place, especially in my Facebook group, but I always accept the challenge. He's been nothing but respectful, I believe, so far. So here's what he says, and his name is David. He says, my son has his Model 3, so I'm assuming your son works for Tesla, so good for him. He told me months ago that the majority of employees with ordered Model 3s were waiting for the cheaper versions or two motor versions. Your speculation is very off the wall. Why? Well, first of all, thank you for the inside information. This is something that looks like it's pretty much true. I mean, my experience of people who I know work for Tesla are also waiting for different reasons. It's not like they can afford it. It's not like they're not really, into it. They just have all different reasons that are very similar to reasons that we have here, just as regular people, I guess, that I have. Like, I'm not ready to buy another car. My lease does not end until much later. So I'm waiting for the same, I'm waiting for the same thing. At the same time, I wasn't speculating, actually. Well, though it is a little bit my job to speculate because, Tesla hasn't been talking about it much, but here in Silicon Valley, yeah, well, I mean, I did mention that there are quite a lot of employees who work for Tesla that just can't afford it, no matter what, right? But here in Silicon Valley, we have a lot. I mean, their headquarters are here and the factory is here. They have a lot of software engineers. They have a lot of managers. They have a lot of executives here. All those people here in Silicon Valley pull six-digit salaries, way into the six-digit salaries, so they can easily afford this car. Actually, I've seen some people in the sales offices. I've seen some people in even service centers, just even regular technicians. They get paid well enough to be able to afford it, even $49,000 version if they really want to. Yeah, so just here in Silicon Valley, the salaries are just high enough where a $49,000 car does not mean the same as it means in a lot of other states where the income is lower. So I'm speculating because I still find it a little bit not odd. I mean, I was just kind of thinking out loud why there are no more employees that ordered the car, whether it's the employees or maybe the production rate is not that high. Maybe a lot of employees are still going to be waiting for theirs, even though the public is now, the sales are now open to public. So David, I hope, first of all, I appreciate all of your comments as usual, but I think, my speculation was sort of, it was definitely something to think about, and that's my job here because, all everyone's talking about is Model 3, and I think it's a pretty, a reasonable, guess to make whether or not this car is being made at a high rate or not being as much of a demand as we thought it did. But I think it's a mixture of both. And as what I mean about the demand is that not everybody wants a $49,000 car right now. Gage Terry in the chat room says Rolls-Royce goes electric. Salamadran sells his gas-powered Phantom. LOL. Yeah, so obviously the video I showed you was a Phantom. That is not the electric car. They don't even have a concept. They just announced they're going to do it. Just the announcement itself I thought was newsworthy and everything. That, by the way, to continue with the Model 3, as you know, there are some footage coming out of Tesla stockpiling Model 3 cars. I think 200 cars on one lot of their delivery center. I'm actually going to go there today and see if I can get some cool footage. I'm going to bring my drone and hopefully not crash it on the roofs of all those nice Model 3s. I'm going to if I'm going to get it, if there's something to see, I'm going to show you that footage tomorrow. So look forward to that because I am going to, I think there will be more news coming out today and tomorrow about Model 3. But yeah, Rolls-Royce story was pretty cool. And of course, I'm looking forward to another trip to the factory and their delivery service. I want to see what happens there. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, I'll be on tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Other than that, I will see you guys then. But remember to stay charged.